Okay, now it's working. All right, so I'm back at the 7530. I've got this incredibly large box of crap in here. As you saw in the video I did earlier, these are the two fans that I removed. I should probably put this in my truck, which I'm going to do. These are the filters, the cab air filters. They're supposed to be white and clean. I would suggest checking these a little more often than what I did. I usually change these in the spring and in the fall, and I'm going to consider this a spring filter change. I will tell you this. I'll tell you this right now. I'm going to go ahead and put these in this box. There are other filters, air filters. Ouch! Did you hear that snap? That was my arm. There's other filters on the back of this tractor. Some of them have these, others don't. Depends on the model. This is a 7530, obviously. And that handle is not in a good shape. So there's something... I don't know what the hell happened here. I'm probably going to have to JB weld that. You know, and that shit pisses me off too, because I shouldn't have to do that, but it's broke. That thing is broke. Anyway. Okay, so these are the exterior ones. A lot of guys overlook these. These are what brings fresh air into your cab. Yummy. Okay? Yummy. I could just say yummy. They're not yummy. You really want to change these a little bit more often than what I did. But you can see that these are they're dirty. They're just flat out dirty. Here's the filter from the inside of the cab. You change the new air filters. Those are cab air filters. Change those on the inside of the cab. You can see it there as well, that white thing. It's always good to clean everything out. God, why does this thing seem like it's so... Is this thing zoomed in or what? Never? No. What the heck is going on here? Anyways, I think it wants to be zoomed. I'm not sure. It is zoomed. There we go. Now we're normal. Sorry about that, guys. You were probably looking at my nostrils. Anyway, just take those out and give them a chuck. These are not cheap. None of this shit's cheap, just so you all know. Really stupid, expensive John Deere. Doesn't matter whether it's John Deere or Case. They're just really, really, really expensive. And, yeah. So I've got two new ones here. I'll go ahead and slice this bad boy open. Like this. Be careful when you do this, because I'm doing this one-handed. I'm sure somebody's just saying, "Why are you using that old Swiss Army knife? Why don't you get a Leatherman?" I love it when people tell me that. It's like almost every time they see my knife, they're like, "Why do you use that piece of shit Swiss Army knife?" Well, I've been using that piece of shit Swiss Army knife all of my life, my childhood and my adult life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually just set this here up on the fender. I'm going to get the other one out. I'm going to take and I'm going to clean this out a little bit. It's muddy, just dirt. So I'm going to get a towel and I'm going to clean these all out of here so that they look a little bit less disgusting to put the new filters in. Not that it's going to make any difference other than it's going to make me feel better. And I guess that's all it's about right now, is making me feel better. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll be right back. All right, so I cleaned them out. There's a bunch of gunk on the ground here from that. You can see, maybe you can't see, I cleaned it out. So these are really quite simple. They're not, I don't think, it doesn't state which one is the top and which one is the bottom. I'm looking, I don't see it. I don't think it makes a damn bit of difference because they're the same. I know one's up, the other one's down. And that's it. Well, maybe I am. Yeah, I'm upside down. What do we got going on here? Don't know. Yeah, maybe. Oh, Tim's coming with that 8530. What the heck? Damn it, that hurt. Okay. It's a two-hand job. It's a two-hand job, I guess. Why in the heck it's a two-hand job? I have no idea. Okay. We will do this. Just quite simple. These 7530 cabs are really tight, just so you know. And that's it. All good. So if you don't know that those are back there, now you do. 7530, I think the 6930s and those are all back in there as well. This thing is just totally junk. They just get loaded with crap, and then it'll only suck air from the inside. It'll only circulate from the inside and never bring you any fresh air in. So I'm gonna go ahead and climb up in here, and I'm gonna kick the fan on. Oops. Let's see what she feels like. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So you can feel it, you can hear it. It's all in there. Everything's working. They speed up, they slow down. Pretty happy with that. Now it's on to the next thing. Next thing is going to be fluids. Those filters are here. You take off that panel for the fuse panel, and they're in there. I don't like the way they sit in there. They just kind of clinch in there with a silly little styrofoam thing, but it seems to work. So if it seems to work, that's it. That's all we care about. Next, the intake air filter for this tractor is different than the one that they sent me. This number here, and I don't know why, but they always do this to me. It is an 8.1. AL172781. This is an 8.0. Wrong one. That's European spec tractors like this one take a bigger intake air filter. So I'm going to have to exchange that. Not the same. I'm sure I could stick it in there and it would be okay, but I don't know. I kind of like the bigger one. This tractor has more horsepower, so it's bringing in a lot more, sucking in a lot more air. So it needs that extra filtration, in my opinion, but whatever. So I'm going to change the fuel filters, engine oil filters, and yeah, we'll call it a good job. I don't need to change the hydraulics because I did that already. I did. It's me. All right, so I'm going to let y'all in on a little secret about any of these new tractors, modern tractors. But the freaking, hold on, with the radiators, the holding tanks that are all the way at the top, like this. These have like this segregated antifreeze or coolant tank on it. And if you look, I'll show you here in a hurry. If you look, you'll see max is right there and minimum is right there. So when you go to fill this thing up, it shits, it burps, and you know, you think you've got it at the maximum, and then you get down the road a little ways, and all of a sudden your transmission is, your engine is defueling, and your transmission is saying, hey, limited function because there's a problem, you know, and you don't understand why, and you can't figure it out because the codes are kind of weird with this one. Well, I'm going to tell you a little secret with these. I have found, and I have actually been told, that when you go to top off these tractors like this, do not fill it to the maximum. You fill it, okay, so that's number one. That tank is empty. That thing has got a lot missing out of it. You don't fill it, that'll be the end of it. You'll see what I'm gonna do, because I'm gonna hop off of this thing without breaking my damn neck. What you do is you don't stop when it hits maximum. You stop when it comes out the top. And I had been having problems with this one. It was this one. This one. Because the damn thing, you'd put the coolant in, you know, you top it off, and then you work for a few days, and then all of a sudden it's beeping at you and defueling you and limiting your speed and everything, and it'll even overheat, and it doesn't look like it's missing anything, but it is. So what I was told from the John Deere tech from from Deere Country, he told me, he says, look, he says, fill that thing clear up to the top. He said, it'll find its level. And I have done it like that ever since. Now, I've owned this tractor since 2016. But I've done it like that ever since, and I have zero troubles with it when I do that. Now, they do, for some reason, there's no leaks on this. There are no leaks on this tractor. There are no leaks on this tractor. At one point, there was an exhaust leak, but I fixed that. My muffler that's up and underneath there was leaking, but I fixed that. Put new manifold gaskets in there when I did that, so everything is good. It's back to where it should be. But once in a while, you know, like in the fall, and well, usually in the fall is when it happens, after you've run it all summer long hard, and it does bubble out the water. It says do not add water because this is pre-diluted. But yeah, and always put the Cool Guard in it, Cool Guard 2 in it. Do not put the green stuff in with this. It'll turn into a snot, and you'll have major problems. So anyway, so that's just what I was going to say about that before I go ahead and tear into, you know, I'll finish topping it off, and then I will go ahead and get that oil changed out, because it's been a year. Well, it was last spring that I did it, and this tractor's in for this service, so I may as well do it. But yeah, anybody looking at it, okay, change the oil, change the fuel filters. Got a bit of a mess here, which is normal. I have a dumpster, I'm gonna go put that in. But yeah, I got these 7530s. I don't like these little panels that they have on them, but everything on a 7530 is very tight, like tight. You can't get your fingers in anywhere. And these heat shields, I don't care if it's a 7530, a 7930, 7920, any of these heat shields that are on here, they break out. So what I did was I took that bolt out. It had loosened up. This one's missing. I'm not going to worry about that one because there's one down here. But this one here, it was broke out. So I put a washer behind it on the manifold, and then I put a washer in front of it, and I pinched that together. So 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts holding that thing together. She's not making that vibrating noise anymore. If you have a 7530, I think the 7930 exact, it has the same thing. On the EGR cooler, that EGR cooler, there is a pipe that goes from here to there, and it will turn, and it's not worn out or anything, and it'll leak right there. If you do have a leak like that, you can take a pair of vice grips and reach up and underneath there and actually turn it to come back. I turned it, and then I put JB Weld on it to hold it in place, because when it turns from the vibration, it actually just leaves a little bit of a gap there for the coolant to weep out of. So you turn it back to where it is, clean it up with some starting fluid, get some JB Weld, put it on there, and call it a day. It will not leak again. JB Weld is easy enough to take off with a hammer and a chisel if you ever have to get at that thing. But we won't be getting at that thing ever again. I can guarantee you that. Yeah, great tractors though, these 7530s. I really like them. You know, I think they knocked them out of the ballpark. They did have some problems with head gaskets. If you do have a 7430, 7530, and you have a head gasket problem with them, what you can do is when you change a head gasket, get a head gasket for a 6210R. Listen to me, a 6210R. Now, some people get all freaked out. They're like, oh, well, the holes are not the same size. Well, they sell a thing called a step bit. Okay, and a step bit you can drill those holes just a little bit bigger, and you're good. Think. That head gasket is actually a little bit thicker and heavier duty. John Deere did come up with a repair for their head gasket problems for the 7530, but if you want to completely fix that problem forever and ever, amen, just get yourself a 6210R, drill out the holes in the gasket, because you'll thank me in the end. You will thank me in the end. Now I'm looking for some electronic cleaner. I thought I had some, but oh yeah, starting fluid. So here's what I did. I pulled these. This thing is 500 and God knows 500. For a pair of these, it was $574, I think, for these blowers, right? So they are a brushed blower, obviously, but you can depress. Where is it? Right there. You can depress a little tab and pry this up. This is just the case, the coating or the case for that. I'm going to go ahead and just clean it out. I want to see whether the brushes are bad. The problem with these are they're non-serviceable. There's a spring under here where the brushes are forced in. And I just think that, look how dirty that was. Right? I mean, that's pretty dirty. Now, if you're going to do this, what I'm doing right now, I do not suggest you fire it up right away. You might want to let now this is just air blowing out of the can. The can is about empty. So, yeah. I don't know. I think these are just shot. There's brushes that go inside here, and when they wear, they're done. That's it. Could probably force more pressure onto them and allow them to make contact a little better. But I guarantee you, with that starting fluid in there, it'll light on fire and be quite spectacular. Which it is just a positive and negative hole there, so no big deal. You can just jump those. You can just jump them with a couple of alligator clips over to one of those batteries I've got over there, and we can see what it does. I'm pretty sure Tim's got alligator clips, and I do have alligator clips up there. I got alligator clips up there. Maybe I'll just go ahead and give it a shot. Does anybody want to see me set this thing on fire? Yeah, everybody wants to see me set it on fire. Okay, let's set this thing on fire. You know what? I think I've got that battery charged up enough. We'll see about this one. There's that. Alright, so I'm going to unplug this. Ready? So I got my alligator clips. I got everything hooked up. Here's the battery. I put it on. We got nothing going on there, right? Maybe just a little bit going on there. We don't see anything going. So here's a brush here. And there's a brush on the other side. So that's what the problem is. The brushes are so when you squeeze them like that, there's enough pressure to make these things function. And that'll blow the hair right off your face. So that's the issue. It's the fan motors. The brushes are bad on these fan motors. Wow. So how do you fix something like that? There's only one way to fix it, and that is to replace it. These are non-serviceable items. I'll go ahead and put that back. Yeah, they're non-serviceable items. And I mean, I could dig a little deeper, but I'll have to put my glasses on. I'm going to dig a little deeper because, you know, you probably can get some life out of these things more. Let me get my glasses on. I got them in my pocket, but I'm going to go ahead and pull these out and pull the spring out of there. And I'm going to pull the brush out of there, and I'm going to see how bad it is. Now, I wouldn't ever put this thing back into, say, this tractor, if I do get them to function correctly. For the simple reason, I already have a screwdriver here. The simple reason is the job is just way too big and difficult to go ahead and cobble these things together just in the, just to save yourself a month of life with your fans. So unless you want to do this every month, it's just better to do this. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and I got my glasses now. I'm gonna be able to see because I'm getting older, and for some reason, this is what I was talking about here. Right here, you see that? You can just unfold as the spring goes flying. Hold on a second here. You guys are probably laughing your asses off at me, like, oh, look at that one lonely farmer. What an idiot. Yeah, I'm an idiot. So maybe I'll give somebody an idea. Maybe if you don't have the money right now and you're just trying to get through harvest, and you can very easily just say, hey, you know what? I don't have the money right now. It's middle of summer. Wheat crop was crap. And whoa, there's your little spring. So there's a spring. Let's put the spring inside of that nut. And we will just go ahead and take a look in there. What's in there? Well, see, that's the problem. Is that little nut gonna work? Huh. Yeah. Well, let's take it out of there. And we'll give it a tap. I mean, I can see it way down there. This is far from easy to deal with, but you can see the brushes way down there. So those brushes, they're just flat out worn. So, all right. Let's go ahead and put that spring back in there, right? We're going to put that spring in there. We could probably do this. We could probably stretch it a bit. Just stretch it out a little bit, give it a little more pressure so that, it's got a little more pressure on it. And I can put you under my armpit maybe. Maybe you can see what I'm doing now. I don't know. Okay, so there's that. Oop. And then we're going to do this, right? Right. Okay, so I have actually taken the spring, I stretched it out a little bit, and then I forced those doors closed a little bit farther. And here, I'll show you what I do on this side. And this may work. This is what I did to the combine. Was I just took a piece of I took two what do you call them? Wire ties, and I wrapped them around, and I squeezed them so that they would definitely put a little more pressure on there, because these things don't wear out that fast. They start to slow down, and then you notice that there's maybe an issue. Now, hold on here. I'm gonna go get my little who's what's it's here, and we'll just let's see if I can just set you all up here. Maybe you can see what I'm doing. And we'll just see if this could get you through a little bit of time. There's a lot of people say, why are you wasting your time? Well, how do you ever know if you never try, That's just one of these things. And if you do have a shortage of money, there it is. You can just easily, maybe, possibly, make this work. Which I probably did not. Am I right? What are you two doing?
What's up? Thank you for the master link.
Ow. Nope, so that won't work. Fuck! Alright, so my brother-in-law and my sister walked in here last night while I was doing this, finishing up this video on this. Well, not finishing it up, but talking about this thing and how to fix it. I had some suggestions. People are like, oh yeah, you can get the parts for that little thing. I doubt it. The reason I doubt it is because of the way this thing is assembled. it isn't assembled in a way that you can easily take it apart at all. And as I kind of proved to myself, the brushes are shot. Those brushes only have a limited amount of graphite in them. I believe they're graphite brushes, and what they do is as they wear, then they get less and less pressure on them. If I was to hook this up, and I think I showed that in the video earlier, and just squeeze those with my fingers, yeah, it would definitely speed up. To be honest with you, to do this job, to replace these, a lot of people said AP Air parts and stuff. They have all the stuff that you need for your air conditioners. You can buy them in packs with everything you need to completely redo your air conditioner for about half the cost of what it would come from Mother Deere, which is fine. That's what we want to do when you're doing that. So anyway, this tractor, I just changed all the oil in it. I haven't changed the hydraulic oil yet. I need to go get 2 drums of oil, and I need to replace this. This should have an 8.1, not an 8.0. This is a European tractor. I got it from Sharman's Agriculture Limited in Grantham, UK. They no longer do John Deere. John Deere pulled the dealership away from them after like 60 years, and they, John Deere really screwed them up, if you ask me. But yeah, I changed that oil, and why it is as dark as it is, this tractor generally wasn't a dark engine oil tractor. It just never was. It was always pretty reasonable. But anyway, I just have that, oh Jesus, one thing to do, which is the hydraulic oil and the filters. They're in there. Those are the most expensive filters you're going to have. There's the hydraulic oil filters. They're hundreds of dollars for those things, $100 and some a piece. So, and there's 2 of them. One's for the transmission, because this is an IVT. I suggest doing with an IVT transmission, and if anybody from How Farms Work is watching this, whether it's Travis or Ryan or Dwight, I'm going to address one thing with your new 7920 John Deere tractor. That has a John Deere IVT in it. It does not have the ZF transmission in it. But what I will say about that transmission is, if you're pulling something heavy and you're on a wet surface and you start to slide, your transmission is going to sense that you're slowing down, and it will continue to drop through the gears. At that point, you need to slam the throttle or something to speed up and catch your traction, because if you don't, it will jackknife. And the IVT transmissions, change that oil. Change the hydraulic oil. Only use John Deere hydraulic oil in those. In my experience, I've used a lot of different hydraulic oils from Valvoline to Rotella, and the best, makes that transmission smooth and quiet, is the John Deere Hi-Guard, or Hi-Tran. Is it Hi-Guard? Hi-Guard. Hi-Guard, right? Yeah, John Deere Hi-Guard. Not Hi-Guard 2, just John Deere Hi-Guard. It is transmission and hydraulic oil. That is what it is, right there. That's the stuff.